what a lot of people talked about when it comes to the biggest controversy from this game is people are talking about the James Bradbury play where it was 3rd and 8. The Chiefs went right down the field. The Eagles were like turnstiles. They just let them get down the field. They scored a touchdown on every drive in the second half. You can't allow that to happen. You can't. But they get down the field. It's a 3rd and 8, and they try to do another one of those corn dog plays. But this time it was more like a stop and go kind of thing. And I think it was Juju Smith-Schuster, and he does it. He kind of gets handsy. James Bradbury pulls his jersey at the line of scrimmage, and as they're running up, pulls his jersey again. Mahomes throws the ball. It's incomplete, but it's a penalty, holding. And that gives the Chiefs a chance to burn a minute and 45 seconds off the clock and eventually kick the go-ahead field goal to win the football game. And I think the Eagles had like 8 seconds to do something, but that wasn't enough time to do anything. A lot of fans, a lot of people are upset. And I saw this after the game. Really upset about the fact that a holding penalty was called on that play. That a holding penalty, there were no holding calls in the game, none at all. That was the play that really cemented the game for the Chiefs. And a lot of people were really upset about that. Let me just tell it to you like this. That wasn't why the Eagles lost the game. It wasn't. The reason why the Eagles lost the game was because they lacked focus, because they turned the ball over for a touchdown in a key situation where they could have gotten a first down and they could have gotten points. They didn't do that. They lost because their defense allowed, the 28 to 31 points. Because the defense allowed 31 points in this game. And or something like that, yeah. 31, 28, 31. They allowed 31 points in this game. I can't do math, I'm sorry. I'm horrible at it. And they lost because of coaching. That's why the Eagles lost. I've said this from the very beginning this season. There are only 2 or 3 games that the Eagles have lost that I've actually blamed on the refs in my whole time as being an Eagles fan. This was not one of them. This game was not rigged. Or at least I don't have any evidence to say that this game was rigged. You can't depend on the officials in any sport. You can't. The officials are not why the Philadelphia Eagles lost. The Eagles are why the Eagles lost. Right? It seems like every time this stuff happens, people are like, for some reason the officials are terrible on this play. The officials have been terrible for years. Right? And a lot of it has to do with the fact that, again, I've said this so many times, too many rules. The game is too fast. And I feel like human beings are just not equipped to officiate a game like football, especially at the NFL level. That was a holding penalty. Now, you could say, well, I don't think it should have been called there because it affected the game like that. But it was. He broke the rules. Right? He committed the penalty. He even came out and said it. And I love how mature this team was because nobody on the Eagles blamed the refs. Not a single person on the whole team. I love that. because it wasn't the ref's fault that the Eagles lost. It was the Eagles' fault that the Eagles lost. And the Chiefs' fault that they won. They won. They were the better team. The sooner you admit that and accept it, the easier that this will be, that this whole process is going to be. Sure, the referees missed 2 face mask calls. I think like the only gripe I had about the officiating was there, like on the second drive, there was a offensive pass interference penalty, and I was always under the thought process that you can't call offensive pass interference if the ball is thrown behind the line of scrimmage. I didn't understand that at all. Maybe someone can explain that to me, because I think that that's really the only, besides 2 missed face mask calls, that was the only blunder the referees made. It was pretty even keeled. But, you know, the Eagles lost because of that play, and they only have themselves to blame. They only have themselves to blame, and I'm not blaming the officials for why a player committed a penalty. He did commit the penalty. You can say that they shouldn't have called it, but they did. They did call it, and it was the right call. Deal with it. You want to get a time machine and go back in time and tell James Bradbury what the play was? You want to tell Avonte Maddox what the play was? You want to tell Darius Slay and Jonathan Gannon what the play was? Go ahead, be my guest. My guess is you can't do that. But it's just easier to kind of just understand that the Eagles lost, and that's it. That's it. Sorry. There's nothing you can do about it. It sucks, but at the end of the day, that's life. There are winners and there are losers in life, in all parts. And this time, the Chiefs won. This might be the last time the Eagles ever go to the Super Bowl. I don't know. But unlike Super Bowl 39, where everyone came out being like, well, 3 years later, we're going to do Spygate, right? This time, you can't have any regrets. You just got to move on. You just got to move on.